this morning really is just back what I just said. My name is Kathleen, and a pleasure being here with Sarah. Both of us work for the Trinity Access programs, and we have some students as well that are with us today, John and Deirdre. Yeah, they look like it's a small world, small world. So the whole aim was to give you some more detailed information about the foundation course for young adults and higher education access route. So you're at different stages, because I did make a presentation about bringing the students that are from other schools, and we have Kilmartin here and Hoyle Park, so the presentation hasn't yet been made to you. So it might be slightly repetitive for you guys as well, but at least you'll have a chance to speak with some additional students and to meet with the coordinator for the foundation course as well, which is pretty important. So I am very important. She's got the red dress and the red lipstick. There you go. So why don't we give Deirdre and John, if you don't mind, we'll put you in the hot seat first, and you can chat a little bit. Deirdre and John have complementary experiences because they have entered through the routes that we're speaking about, so through the higher education access route and through the foundation course for young adults. And I suppose, sorry, I lost my manners. I want to welcome you all to Trinity. I think that's the major difference in you guys being in here today. And I hope that you enjoy your day at Trinity as well. It's a fantastic, absolutely fantastic campus, great history. You're in the debating chamber right now. So if there are those of you who decide that you want to become involved with some of the student societies in Trinity, which are real, I think, strong presence and really successful in Trinity, you'd be spending time in here getting involved in public speaking and debating. I was just mentioning to Sarah, we learned from one of the local historians, that lovely handsome man with the portrait on the lower side there. He's the man responsible for Canterbury's hot cocoa. So when you're going to warm yourself up this evening, you can think about him. Apparently he was a scientist, spent time around Trinity and in the West Indies as well, and got the notion of blending. This is going to be some information for you. We'll get down to what it is we're here, what we're supposed to be talking about this morning. But I'll hand over to Deirdre and John for a few minutes.
Well, yeah, I'm Deirdre. I'm in second year now in medicinal chemistry, so I'm a science person. So unfortunately, we don't have any arty students to talk to, so we might be able to convert us to the science field. But anyway, I came through the foundation course. That's a picture of my class graduating there. So I did that in 2011, 12, maybe. And it was great. That's a very good year. I definitely recommend all these to apply for it. So you come in anyway, if you're lucky, you can get picked and selected for it. And you come in and I do the science stream, obviously, but there's different streams that you can do. I know a lot of us know this already, but you can do the stream A, B, C, or D, and depending on whether you want to do like arts, history, kind of English, that sort of stuff, whether you want to do science or like a social science stream. So depending on that, it depends on what you study for the year. But you take 3 main subjects, like you have to do IT, ed guidance, and study skills, and then the rest of it is optional. It's whatever stream you take then, and then you complete then. You get your course in Trinity on the basis of a continual assessment and your end of year exam. So you forget about your leaving cert points when it comes to that. So that's what I do, and I really enjoyed the chemistry. The lecturers there are great, so I mean, you meet people that are really inspiring. And they'll change their mind about what you want to do. Because I came in thinking I wanted to do pharmacy, then I changed my mind and went down this in chemistry, and I'm really glad now because pharmacy is a health science, so I would have had to be like, looking at all them dead bodies and all that sort of stuff. So I didn't do it anyway. I think I'm more based in the lab. But no, I really enjoyed it. And then the summer that I finished the foundation course, I got to do a work placement with one of the lecturers there. So that's when I knew straight away, yeah, definitely I want to be working in the lab. So I want to do this degree course. So maybe then come first year then when you're starting, it's really not, it's like you're not going into first year because you know the campus, you know staff are Trinity, you have friends, like it's a major difference to the people who come into first year straight away. So I think you have a really big heads up, like, I know with me, with the course, the modules in first year, I had only on covered, so really I was miles ahead really, like I could ask questions, more specific questions and get more information because I knew the basics already from the foundation course. So it's great, it really does set you up academically and personally if you're not ready to go in. So yeah, I definitely recommend that always look into it, apply for it because it's very hard to decide what you want to do when you come out of school. Because I mean, you think you know, but you don't. Like you know where you have an interest, and that's what the foundation course is for. You know you have an interest in something, and you have time to decide. you have up until Christmas anyway to make some sort of decision, and then even after that you can change if you're still not sure, and then you of course you have staff and the different people around that can advise you and guide you on where to go, and I think that really does help you when you go into your degree program as well, because I just felt like I was well prepared, well ready for everything, so, and I done well in the exams and everything. I didn't have to do any repeats, like, it's not the end of the world, like, but a lot of people do have to do them, so it was good that I didn't, and I think I put that back there to the foundation course because I had done a lot of material that was like a revision here, so, I don't know, if anyone's going to ask me anything, I don't really know what else to say, but, or maybe you can talk to me afterwards.
And you're considering science? Yeah? Okay, great.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it, because there's a lot of new material that it gives you a year to cover it, or even cover some of it, so that you're not kind of like, because literally, you think it's a big room. The lecture theatre is way bigger than this, like 400 in my first year class, like imagine trying to sit there and concentrate when you're in a room with like 399 more other students and you're kind of like, what is going on? You're listening to this person talk like I am, like, but they're up on this stage on like a pedestal and you just have to kind of sit there and listen to the hour. It's mad. So I definitely recommend the foundation course if you're the type of person who likes classroom environments and maybe you need kind of that transition before you go into this huge mass of people, like, so. But anyway, if you have any questions, you can ask me at the end.
We'll be deep questions. I just say that's nice to leave your hand that introduction. So John,
Hey guys, my name is John. I'm doing science. I just came in. I came in through the HERE scheme. That'll be
the next presentation.
Familiar faces from Dublin Community College. Technically the HERE scheme saved me because I was like 40 points off from general science, and I thought it was like a great opportunity, and I was like really motivated. And I know what it's like for all of you. It's like it's a stressful year, but with a bit of hard work, you'll succeed, and it's actually really worth it. Like it started out, it was like my mom promised me, and that if I worked hard, then like she'd send me off to Las Vegas, and so I worked hard, and I'm here, I guess. It was such a surprise because I originally wanted to go to DCU to study science there, but as I said, it was such a surprise when I saw that I got Trinity for science, and there were great like facilities there, and like societies, like I don't know, because like I don't really go to my societies. I just like hang out with friends and like go to the pub, and nights out are great because like you can go on pub crawls, like you're in the city, and like unlike other times, they only have like a few pubs. Like on Monday we went to like the science. It was like the SUS, like student to student, and they hosted it. And technically, it's like an event for just science students. So last Monday we went to around like 13 pubs, 12 pubs per person. I thought it was crazy. And
what about the key things for applying for here?
I'd say like obviously like all of you are like eligible for it. So I'd say I'd advise you all to apply for it because you got like a bursary, and I think we got like a lottery, and you get like so much support from the top, and it makes you feel like a special student.
John, when you come here, we make sure I'm not really
so you make your friends and you establish, so technically you make your group of friends and you stick with benefits.
Because you get like HERE students, don't they get an extra week of kind of easing into things in the beginning, and you get lectures and stuff too?
It's just like a short course, it's an introduction to the HERE scheme. So it's like before everyone goes in, and like all the college students, like there's a pre-university like for a week, and it's really good to make really good. So if you live outside.
If you said that double trip something.
So from students from what part do you just travel in and out each day for the pre-university program? it does, it helps you find your feet, I suppose, in the same way that Deirdre spoke about finding her feet. But we might do, thanks for that, John, and John and Deirdre will be around to answer kind of some more specific questions then as well. We might get into the nuts and bolts of the actual program, in particular that you have Sarah here as the coordinator for the foundation course, so can answer absolutely any question on about the foundation course.
I can't use this. Okay. Grant, so as Kathleen said, I run the foundation course here in TAP, and this presentation is going to be about the TAP foundation course and our partnership course in Liberties College, because it's one application form for both courses. And the key thing, if there's one key thing you remember from this presentation and from this whole day, is whatever you do, apply for as many things as possible, because you want to be in a position come August that you have options and choices. Every single year in August, when the CAO offers get made, my phone is just ringing off the hook from parents, guidance counsellors and students who are so distraught because they haven't applied for everything they could have. You know, maybe they've pinned their hopes on a CAO offer that they then don't get. And they're ringing me saying, please, please, can I have a late application for the foundation course? Can you consider me for Liberties? What are my options? And always my answer is, there's nothing I can do for you. So the key is right now, you all have guidance counsellors in your schools. Go through the application processes for the HERE scheme, for the foundation course, Liberties course, and for PLC courses. Because you do not want to be that person in August who is trying to ring me and beg in tears because you don't know where you're going in September. Well, your mates are sorted and you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening to me. You want to be someone who has choices about what's going to happen to you next. So put in some time now to make that happen. So the foundation course, Deirdre's really said it to you, but basically it's a year-long course that's delivered here in Trinity. And it's for people who don't feel ready to go to college. You don't want to go into a lecture theatre with 400 people. You want that bridge first to ease you in. It's for people who don't have the academic skills. Maybe you don't know how to write an essay properly, or you're not good at doing exams. You want a year to brush up your skills to a university standard. Equally, if you don't know what you want to study, are you science, are you English, are you psychology, philosophy? It's a chance for you to try out loads of different subjects and find out what suits you, what suits your interests, what suits your abilities. Also, some of you might be here today knowing what you want to do, but you don't think you're going to get the points. This is a way for you to start again. We don't think about points. Once you're in the foundation course, points are out the window. We forget about them. It's a chance for you to start again, to achieve, and then progress onto the degree you want to do. Okay, so they're the kind of people who might do it. The course is an academic and personal preparation. It's full-time, and we have 25 places each year. It's completely free, and you're a registered student of Trinity or Liberties College, which means you can use the sports hall, you can join all the clubs and societies. We've had people who've captained the football team in the past of the college, so anything that is on offer to undergraduate students, you can avail of. The classes are delivered in quite small groups. Some classes have as few as 6 students in them. The maximum you'd ever have is 25. So the good news is you get lots of individual attention. The bad news is you can't sit at the back and expect the tutor to ignore you, because it doesn't happen. The tutors are massively committed and motivated and want to get the best out of every single student. So if you think you're going to go in and skulk at the back or not turn up, it will be noticed. And in fact, one of them, for a student, if their mobile phone goes off, she finds them a box of chocolates and they have to bring the chocolates to the next class. So it's all about keeping everyone zippy and learning. A tutorial is when you have to engage. It'll be delivered in a small group and you have to prepare something in advance and then be prepared to discuss it with the lecturers. A lecture is when the lecturer presents, okay? But as I said, it's very small group learning. You're taught through a mixture of continuous assessment, so half your marks will come from tests, assignments, homeworks during the year, and the other half come from end-of-year exams. So you're not pinning all your hopes on those Leaving Cert exams at the end of the year. You build up your marks during the year. Everything we do is underpinned by our core subjects, and this is where we teach you how to be a university student. Learning here is completely different to how you learn in school, so we have to get you ready for that way of learning. So first of all, everything's done through computers, so you do a year of computers. Then we teach you loads of study skills, and that's 3 or 4 hours a week. So how do you do your lab reports in science? How do you use the library? What's the key to writing an essay? What's the key to doing exams? We teach you all that stuff. How to take notes in lectures, how to organise your time. And then you also have ed guidance. And the educational guidance is about building you together as a class, developing your personal skills, and also helping make sure that you pick the right degree course. The reality is that about 20% of students in Ireland drop out of their degree courses. And a lot of that is they pick the wrong degree. So we work with you for a whole year to make sure that you go on and do the right degree course. And our students tend not to drop out in very high numbers because they're going into the right degree for them. And we'll organise things like shadowing days. We'll annoy people like John and Deirdre and say, John and Deirdre, can you come down to our students and tell them what it's like to study in Trinity? So we give you lots of opportunities to find out what you want to do. Then, as Deirdre said, you choose to specialise in one of three areas: social sciences, arts or science. So a social science student would study things like psychology, economics, law, political science, maths and statistics. An arts student would do things like English, history, philosophy, and science would be chemistry, biology, maths and physics. And those different streams are orientating you into different degree programmes, preparing you. At the end of the year, you do exams, but you've already got half your marks under your belt. And then, if you're successful, you get a certificate from Trinity in Foundation Studies for Higher Education, and you use that result to apply for degree courses in Trinity. And every degree course has places set aside for you. Okay? We only have 25 places, so as a way of increasing our places, we also run a course in partnership with Liberties College, where there's another 25 places. Do you know where Liberties College is? If you go out front gate of Trinity and just walk straight for about 10 minutes and then turn left, it's there. So it's sandwiched between Christchurch Cathedral and St. Patrick's Cathedral. Very close, city location. Their course is really similar to ours. It's delivered in Liberties. It's underpinned by your study skills, ed guidance and IT. And they have a range of arts subjects. So this is the key difference. You have to progress into a degree in arts or social sciences from Liberties. You cannot go into a degree in science, engineering, maths or health science, okay? Because they don't offer those subjects. In addition to going to all your classes in Liberties, students there also come into Trinity for taster activities. So things like shadowing days, social events, they attend workshops, they can use the library, they have a special rate in the sports centre, so you're very much a student of two campuses. At the end of the year, they get a certificate, a FETAC Level 5 certificate, which they can use to come to Trinity, Maynooth, DCU, UCD, a whole range of DIT, a whole range of different institutions. So it's a passport to go lots of different ways, depending on how well you do. So who can apply? Students in Tapling schools can apply, or students in schools that are affiliated to another access service in the Greater Dublin area. These are the criteria for, two of the criteria for the TAP Foundation course, but for Liberties College, they will accept applicants from other schools, okay? And finally, you have to meet the same socioeconomic criteria as set out for this HERE scheme, and I won't go on about them because Kathleen will be going through them. Please apply for both, yeah? You apply for Foundation course, you apply for HERE. If you're a HERE applicant, you don't need to give TAP any of those supporting financial documentation, okay? You just send them all to HERE. You don't need to send in 2 copies. In terms of the academic criteria, a minimum of 1 C3 or above on higher level paper, but that is a minimum. Most people would come in with more than that. You need to get 5 passes as well, and they must include English and maths. And we also look at FETAC and LCA qualifications. It's 1 application form for both courses, and you need to apply by the 7th of February, and that's all online. And I'll give you a flyer at the end of this that shows the application, the web address. We need to get your references in by March 28th and all your supporting documentation by the same date. And in January, we'll be holding clinics here in Trinity to go through the application process with you to make sure you know how it works. You don't have to go to them, but it's very helpful. If you've got to talk to you, yeah. After you apply in March, we'll tell you if you initially look like you're eligible based on the school you've gone to. Then we'll call you in for interview, and they're group interviews. In June, we'll tell you whether you are eligible or not, and in August, once we get leaving cert results, we'll make offers. We're very successful, and 92% of our students have gone on to do degrees in Trinity, and 98% of them have succeeded or are still on their degree courses. So very high, much higher than the national average rates. These are the kind of degrees that our students went into last year, and you can see it's a whole spread about across the college, from medicine to engineering, law, midwifery, BESS, radiation therapy. Okay? And once you come in, the good or the bad news, depending on how you view it, is you don't get rid of me, because TAP continues to support you right the way through your degree programme, financially, with academic support if you're struggling with subjects, personal support if you just want to meet with us and have a chat, if there's issues that are bothering you, and I check up on all your results all the time, and send you emails and phone calls if I haven't seen you for a while, just to check everything's as it should be. So I'm afraid you get stuck with me for 5 years. Isn't that great, Deirdre? Brilliant. Through gritted truth. These are all the contact details, but we have them in the flyers. So I urge you, just apply for as many things as possible. Be the student in August who has a selection of offers. Yeah, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, as opposed to being the student whose mates are all off to bright and better things and you're stuck at home wondering what next. So just leave your options open, and good luck.
Are there any questions about the foundation course?
What about if you do the year and you don't think that you're easy, but you
You have to repay all the fees. I'm joking. That's fine, because is it not much better to do a year and work out that it's not for you than to start in first year and then lose your free fees in first year if you want to go somewhere else? That's absolutely fine. And of course, there are people every year who decide college mightn't be for them or Trinity mightn't be for them. And we have an ed guidance tutor there full time who can help you work out what other institutions you'd like to go to. If you do the TAP foundation course, you have to use your leaving cert results though when being considered for other institutions. Or if you're Liberty, they can use your free TAP award. Okay?
And how many people do you get?
Medicine, maximum of 2. Very hard. You would have to get a very high distinction overall, and then be one of the top placed applicants for medicine in the class. So if there's 6 people applying, only 1 of you will get it, and they'll be the ones with the highest grade in their HTAP and in the foundation course. So you shouldn't view it as a kind of easy way into medicine, because it absolutely is not.
Does the specialisation you take in your TAP year, does that determine what you do, what you're going to do in the actual year in college?
Yes and no. If you did science and then said, actually, I really want to study philosophy, well, then we'd say no. You have to have done relevant subjects for the degrees you want to go on to. But there is a huge amount of flexibility. And for the first 6 weeks, we work with the students very closely to make sure they pick the right package of subjects that leaves as many options open as possible.
Well, I'm going for a maths degree, but I'm also very interested in science. So, how much science stuff will I be able to do during the TAP year and still get the course I want?
Would you want to do an arts degree?
I'm going for PES.
Yeah, well then you wouldn't be doing science in the foundation course because it wouldn't give you the right preparation. You do things like statistics, economics, political science, law.
I mean, if you're interested in science, that is something to think about. What about science? You know, just again, like guidance counselors and staff there for us.
No, I've talked a lot about this. I like both, but the art, I'm just more into the arts. Maybe that'll make it. I'll go back and do science.
I suppose there is an option, and many universities offer this now. It's something called broad curriculum. So students who have distinct interests in other areas, so whether it's other subject areas, that you can sometimes pick those up as small courses.
Yeah, and we have
and
an
equivalent as well, broad curriculum. Yep. So it's called the broad curriculum, and there should be details in the college prospectus. Will I share some information about the higher education access route now? Okay, I'm just conscious of the time. So here, and just so that everyone knows, so it's all, you're chipping away at the whole process for applying now to university. I'm delighted to see that you've made the effort and come into Trinity today. And again, this is part of a bigger picture. So hopefully you will be plotting out the rest of your day here and attending lectures that are related to your subject. Because as Sarah said, I suppose one of the critical things is to make sure that you apply for a course that's most suitable to you. Here might be an additional mechanism that will allow for you to gain entry to that course. As John said, he wouldn't have been offered a place in science in Trinity had he not applied for here. Why was John able to apply for here? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, what here is about. TAP has been working within Trinity College for over 20 years now, and essentially we want to make sure that when you walk around Trinity's campus that Trinity is reflective of society at large, so that the people that you meet are reflective of Irish society at large. So, that is both from and quite importantly from the perspective of people's social, financial, and cultural background. So here has been a way to ensure that students who are the first in their family to go to university in many cases and who are coming from a lower income background, that they are well represented in Trinity College. We're not the only institution that's part of this scheme. We're part of a group of 16. So all universities in Ireland, all the 7 universities, Dublin Institute of Technology, and all the teacher training colleges. So you can see the full listing here. So if you're applying to a course in any one of these places, then really it's well worth your while to apply for the higher education access route. As Sarah said, it's much better to be in the driving seat in August and to know that you have choices, as opposed to not. And if you are eligible for the higher education access route, it really would be counterproductive for you not to apply for the higher education access route, because it's only a small bit more of an online application and following up on some supplementary documentation. And it could offer you some unique life opportunities, okay? So you've seen the listing there, and you all probably at this point are starting to refine your college choices. You're starting to become clearer as to how you're going to fill out your CAO application, and that's perhaps your biggest job, but at least you have, for most courses, until July to do that. I suppose just a reminder, and this is something that your guidance counselor hopefully will be running through with you, and it's also quite important just to understand how you will address any sort of financial concerns that you have around going to college. Most of the higher education access route students will be eligible for a grant, but here is not the grant, okay? That is completely separate. And there are some websites. There's one website in particular that I'd recommend for you. It's called studentfinance.ie, and that will walk you through the higher education grant application process in Ireland as well, and maybe answer some of those specific questions if you have any. But here is not Susie, and should not be confused with that. So yes, TAP is about going out and recruiting students, making sure that students understand that Trinity, yes, is a very diverse university right now, that it is a welcoming university, and that we want to see students of all shapes and sizes coming into Trinity. In particular, if you are showing the academic potential to be here, okay? That you shouldn't feel inhibited or restricted to come to Trinity because of your family background. Okay, so I've spoken about the reduced points, but Trinity is not only about attracting those students. We work together alongside students to ensure that you do well and you thrive when you are in Trinity, because we want to see you coming out successfully on the other end as graduates. So John had mentioned the pre-university program, or our university orientation program, and we also have a range of social, personal, financial, and academic supports that are put in place for you as an undergraduate student in Trinity. So you'll see, you already get a sense walking around Trinity, there's many, many different buildings, many different people working in those buildings. But rest assured that Trinity is a very welcoming university and that there are supports in place for its students. So if you're answering yes to these questions, then you absolutely should apply for the higher education access route. Everyone needs to answer yes to one, and that is on the basis of your parents' or guardians' income. And it's broadly in line with the higher education grant income threshold limits. And this year, which has been set at €48,811. Okay, and that's on the basis of 2012, your parents' earnings for 2012. If your family has a medical card or a GP visit card, whether or not your parents have received means-tested social welfare payments for at least 26 weeks in 2012, whether or not your parents' employment status is underrepresented in higher education. You might say, well, what does that mean? There are certain classifications of occupations, and they start at higher professional, so examples would be doctors and lawyers, and it is, a certainty, virtually a certainty, that if you're born to a doctor and lawyer that you will inevitably end up in college. There's 100% saturation rate for children of people in those professions going to college. And then we work down to the students that we're trying to attract. Their parents would be in semi, unskilled, and non-manual or manual employment categories, okay? So some examples, there's a broad range of occupations that would fall under those categories, but they include things like sales assistants, security attendants, bar workers, taxi drivers, the list goes on and on, okay? But you'd probably, your job simply for that area is to accurately represent your parents' job title, and that from there it goes out and it will be classified. And we can determine whether or not children of parents from that particular employment status are underrepresented in college, okay? Whether or not you've attended a DESH school, so there's several students in here who would fit that bill already, and whether you live in an area of concentrated disadvantage. And you might say, well, how do I figure that one out? And again, that's not up to you. That's an external group who, there's very detailed mappings of Ireland which are able to determine literally to the doorstep the level of affluence or disadvantage in communities, literally down to streets, and we'll go as far as doorsteps once we're issued with postal codes, which is quite soon, okay? So that really is just, your job is just to fill out your application form accurately and leave it to us to determine whether or not you're eligible. So you need to, as I said, meet number 1 plus the right combination of 2 other indicators to be eligible for the higher education access route. You need to, in the very least, indicate on your online CAO application form, so everyone needs to apply online through the CAO, indicate by the 1st of February that you want to be considered for here, and you'll see a pop-up screen there where you sign for the terms and conditions, and that will then lead you into the further screens of the online application. Helpfully, the guidebooks, and you would have received these in school, these are some copies here, and walk you through the online application literally page by page. So please help yourself to one of these if you haven't received them already. And what we recommend is that students complete this guidebook prior to going online. And it literally replicates. This here is a duplicate of what you will see online. Just means that you will have had the opportunity to fill this out prior to logging on. And you can open up, as you can, your CAO application at different points, so you don't have to fill it all out in one go, and you'll have up until the 1st of March to complete your higher education access route application. And then you have until the 1st of April to provide any supporting documentation. Every HERE applicant will receive a different checklist because your family circumstances will be different. So for instance, if your parents are employed, you may be requested to provide a P21. If they're unemployed, the focus may be on their social welfare or social welfare statements, for instance, okay? So everyone's supporting documentation will be different. Your job is to make sure that the checklist, that you fill out your application correctly, the checklist that you receive, that you provide all the documentation that has been requested of you in that checklist. So really that is your job, and to keep in mind that yours will be slightly different again from other students, okay? The deadlines are hard and fast, guys. There are no exceptions. So similar to what Sarah was saying, you know, students call up in August and say, can I apply? Is it too late to apply? Absolutely. When the door closes, the door closes. So when the time comes by the close of business on those days, 1st of February, 1st of March, 1st of April, that's it. And there are no exceptions made. It's a nationwide scheme. There will be close to 9,000 applications to the higher education access route this year. So they mean business, you know, there's no exceptions. Okay? I've spoken to you a little bit about the checklist, okay? Your HERE application can't be considered complete unless you supply all of that documentation, and it needs to be complete and accurate. So whatever you read in the guidebook, make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, jot down questions. I can try and answer questions after this general presentation, if you'd like, or one-to-one. And also, as we mentioned, on the 11th of January, you'll have that nationwide clinic, where at that point, quite likely you will have been online on the CAO, you will have completed your HERE checkbook, and if you have any questions that are cropping up that you're unsure of, you know, or you want to double check, have I filled in my parents' occupation correctly? Is this the type of documentation, supporting documentation that I need? Those are the types of specific questions that you can bring to that clinic, because it has to be accurate
Everything has to be accurate, and if it's not, then you could be deemed ineligible on a technicality. So it's really important to give that close consideration. I've mentioned some of these, and again, I don't want to sort of bamboozle you with this type of information. These are documents that your parents or guardians would be familiar with. A P21 essentially is a summary of your earnings. A notice of assessment is the equivalent for self-employed. So if your parents or guardians are self-employed as opposed to PAYE workers. Okay, the social welfare form has to be signed and stamped, okay, by a social welfare official. There's also a form called RP50, which is a redundancy form. And then there's a letter from the HSE if you're a child in care of the HSE. Okay, so those are just a sample of the supporting documents. I've already mentioned these tips throughout the presentation, but as I said, you know, I think that your number one crutch is the guidebook, and to go through that page by page, to make sure that you've read it carefully and that you understand it. You will be doing yourself the best service because you'll ensure that your application is complete and correct, okay? And that you've given an accurate description of your parent's occupation, okay? Then go about, there's no reason to delay, okay? I think if you have a solid idea of how you'd like to fill out your CAO form, you can start that process. There's no reason why you couldn't start that process. All right, and that remains open to you to change courses for most courses, with the exception of restricted courses, up until July anyway. So you're not locking yourself into particular courses in universities. Okay, and make sure that your copies of your documents are good quality, that they're very clear because they will all be scanned up, and that they contain both the front and back pages as well. Those are mistakes, common mistakes, okay? Keep your proof of postage and meet the deadlines. Keep your proof of postage. Sometimes things go astray in the post, but the burden of proof is on you, okay? So you need to make sure you have the proof of postage. You can't call us up and say, if we say, look, we didn't receive that, and you say, well, I mailed it. Unless you have the proof of postage, then I'm afraid that is won't be acceptable. The disability access route to education, that's not part of this conversation. There are other presentations being made by the Disability Service today, and I know that staff is available in room 2054, but I have mentioned which is over in the Arts Building, where our stand is as well. But I have mentioned, you know, sometimes students, I suppose, equate disabilities with, you know, being blind, deaf. It does extend to learning disabilities such as ADHD or ADD, autism, Asperger's as well. So it is really important if a student has a disability, in the same way that if you're from a low-income family, that you can get supported in gaining entry to college and doing well when you are in college. There are many, many students with disabilities that are studying in Trinity, and I know the staff over in the Disability Service would be welcome to speak to you about the Disability Access Route to Education, which is very similar to the Higher Education Access Route in that you apply online and provide supporting documentation, and that you receive supports when you come into university as well. So just to make sure that you're aware of that, because Here and Dare and the information about Here and Dare will be found on the same website, which is accesscollege.ie. And you can see we have a presence on Facebook and Twitter as well. So that's the Higher Education Access Route, and that's Trinity's little part within the Higher Education Access Route. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to try and answer those for you. And as Sarah said, apply to here, apply to the foundation course, and then, you know, see how things pan out following your Leaving Certificate exams and your offers in August. Okay, so I'm delighted. I hope we haven't, hope we've given you the information that you came in looking for. And please, if there's any questions, or if you'd like to go to one-to-one.